Hello and welcome to the Mystic Mondays YouTube channel. I'm Grace and today we are doing a deck unboxing of the Modern Nirvana Oracle Deck, which has multiple authors: Kat Graham, Jennifer Sodini, Frank Elaridi, and Bryant Wood, as well as illustrated by Natalee Miller. If you are interested in learning how to create your own deck as a multi-deck creator, I do have a course where I teach you how to create your own deck from start to finish. Find out more about the Create Your Deck Club at cydc.mysticmondays.com. Link will be in the video description box. Now let's get into the deck unboxing of the Modern Nirvana Oracle Deck. Welcome to another deck unboxing on the Mystic Mondays channel. We'll be looking at the deck box, guidebook, card art, as well as conducting a deck interview. And at the end of the video, we'll be doing a card pull for the collective to see what messages this deck wants to give you at this time. I am a deep believer that decks have different personalities, so we'll be using a deck interview spread from my Mystic Mondays Tarot journal. If you want to use this deck interview spread for yourself, the link is in the description box to view the blog article on mysticmondays.com. Let me know what you think about this deck by leaving a comment below. Like this video if you'd like to have this deck in your collection, and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more Mystic unboxings on your feed and in the inevitable future. Now let's get started. Welcome to today's deck unboxing of the Modern Nirvana Oracle. Awaken your intuition and deepen your awareness. 50 cards and guidebook. Looks like there are several authors here: Kat Graham, Jennifer Sodini, Frank Elaridi, Bryant Wood. Illustrated by Natalee Miller. So this deck is about open your mind and spirit to new realms of perspective. Explore ancient philosophy for our modern lives in this guide for self-inquiry and empowerment through life's transitions with breathwork, meditations, and mantras designed to inspire new levels of awareness. Offering clarity around the gradients of love, loss, levity, and each chapter of the human experience. This powerful deck will help you tap into your inherent wisdom and liberate your soul. Awesome. All right, let's dive in. So, I have never opened this deck before. This is gorgeous. Wow. I love the continuation of this like ripple effect as soon as you open the guidebook, or as soon as you open the box. It is really cool, and use this ribbon to get all the cards out. So a ribbon tucked into this magnetic keepsake box here. Let's put that aside. Flipping through the guidebook. Ooh, very cool. Opening up. So the paper stock feels kind of like newsprint a little bit. Maybe a little thicker than newsprint, but it's definitely of a thinner paper stock. Looks like all of the meanings come with the illustration next to the meaning, and then a mantra for each card, as well as it looks like different rituals with steps. So that's cool. Okay, just flipping through here. Wow, these illustrations are beautiful. Oh, I love that. Cool. Very cool. I think this one is on the cover. Prism. Yes. Prism and Prism. Okay. Now let's look at the artwork that is in this deck. It's very cool. Oh, and the backs are top and bottom reversible. So I think a lot of tarot decks use this, and not necessarily. Oh, that one really wanted to come out. Resolution. Interesting. Okay, so Yeah, so what I was saying is that tarot decks usually have like card backs where you can't tell if it's upright or reversed because of the card meaning. So I think it's interesting that this Oracle deck is implementing that, because with Oracle decks typically there aren't reverse meanings. So let's go through all of the card art here and admire the beautiful art of the Modern Nirvana Oracle. I'm loving the style of these. It feels like it's from an era, you know, like an older era of illustration and design work. Kind of has this like Art Nouveau kind of illustration style. Definitely elements of hand-drawn as well as some components of like textures, which I'm really seeing in here, for example, with this kind of like mezzotint kind of application with the different textures. And you can also, if you like zoom in, there's also like this like paper texture on top of these cards. So beautiful. I feel like all of these figures are also like fairly fashionable. Like, look at this guy with this hat and the veil. He popped out earlier with Resolution. And then like these different symbols here. Nice. Okay, so now that we've looked through all of the art, we are gonna do a deck interview. And so since this is the first time I am using this deck, I like to do this. It's not always effective. But yeah, we'll see how well this shuffles the cards. I'm gonna put the box and the guidebook nearby. And because I feel like decks have their own voice and personality, kind of like different friends and different guides that you would go to, I'm wondering what the voice of this deck will sound like, you know, in a reading. And sometimes you go to different decks for different things. So for example, maybe you only use a deck for your higher self, or you only use a deck, you know, to read for friends or something like that. All right, so let's use this tarot deck interview spread from the Mystic Mondays Tarot Journal, which is published with Chronicle Books. It's a book I authored and illustrated because illustrations of the tarot cards are in here, as well as some cool little graphs and whatnot. So yeah, we're going to use this to get to know this Oracle deck. So number one, what is the energy of this deck? What is the energy of this deck? Just gonna pull one here. Since this is a new deck, the cards are kind of stuck together a little bit. Liberation. Ooh, love that. Okay, and then how can this deck best support me? How can this deck best support me? You've got Kintsugi, which I believe is the Japanese art of using goals to repair broken things, like vases, which is displayed here. And also interesting that it's displaying a figure, like a person, made of like ceramics. Okay, what is this deck's strength? Weightlessness. And I actually really love this illustration. I noticed it earlier, but it's cool because I think a lot of the colors used here are actually kind of heavy, like this black and dark purple and brown. Like these are heavier colors, but here it's kind of indicated like this figure is a shadow, so that's cool. And then we've got, what is this deck's weakness? Deja vu. Okay. In what realm will we best communicate? Compassion. How will our relationship develop? 1. I feel like that really stands out here. It's just so much more graphic and the colors are really like vibrating. And for what guidance can you offer me at this moment? I got breathe. Okay, so I'm gonna move that down so you can see it. Okay. So since I'm not familiar with this deck, I'm going to review the guidebook as we go along. And since this is authored by several people, I think it's interesting to see how the voice will come across. Okay, we've got liberation, so let's go there first. Liberation. By liberation of the self through love, we will develop love. Gautama Buddha. Before we can achieve liberation, we must look at what is currently keeping us from our ultimate freedom. What layers of expectation are we confined to? If you had complete liberation right now, would that even be something that you would be willing to accept? We often seek comfort and familiarity in order to avoid the discomfort of change. This card is a gentle nudge to take a step into the unknown, away from what feels comfortable, and pivot from your usual choices so that you can get closer to freedom. Remember that you, in fact, are already liberated, but it is the human conditioning that we use as our blueprint that hides how truly free we already are. JS. So it looks like whoever wrote the description, their initials are noted here. I was wondering how that was going to work. And then the mantra says, "It is my right to be liberated from that which limits my mind. I believe in my inherent freedom and leave all limitations behind." So liberation, I feel like, is a synonym to freedom, and freedom is one of my top values. I feel like, you know, the things that I like to work on and do in my life all aim for this vision of freedom. So I suppose the energy of this deck is reinforcing this messages of freedom for me and the collective if you resonate with this. So how can this deck best support me? Okay, Kintsugi. Everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. Confucius. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form and philosophical outlook in which what is broken is repaired with precious metals such as gold, platinum, and silver. As a living philosophy, breakage and subsequent repair are viewed as beautiful even in their brokenness. An object's history is its own poetry in static motion and perceived flaws. Only add to the unique preciousness of the vessel, which has undergone change through time and direct experience. When we perceive something as damaged or broken, the initial shock of something beloved no longer being what it was can cause a visceral reverberation through the heart space. Feelings of attachment tethered to affection and nostalgic waves of longing can cause deep suffering, and our shattered emotions may cause us to burst into tears in sympathy with what is believed to be broken. This can leave us feeling as though we've been shattered into a million pieces. This is a bit longer, so let me just read the mantra. I weld the pieces of my past back together with gold and stand in my presence as a work of art to behold. What was no longer is, and what will be is beautiful. So, how can this deck best support me? I feel like that to me is speaking to healing the parts of myself that feel broken and realizing that it's a work of art, or that I am a constant work in progress, that I'm not perfect, that, you know, parts of me and my past or anything that I may look back on that might not feel so good. I think this card is a reminder, and how this deck can best support me, because that's the position of where this card is. I think it's just to be kinder to myself and to acknowledge that I'm not perfect. I'm doing my best, you know, and there are parts of, I think, darker emotions or sad moments or anything like that that can be quite beautiful. Like movies you might watch, you know, that can have really like sad moments, can actually be portrayed in really like cinematic, beautiful ways, you know, and there can be poetry in those moments as well, and they can be works of art, you know. So what is his deck strength? I've got weightlessness, which I think is the last card here. Yes. Okay, we've got undisturbed calmness of mind is attained by cultivating friendliness toward the happy, compassion for the unhappy, delight in the virtuous, and indifference toward the wicked. Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Are you often finding that you are weighed down by your own ideals of how things need to manifest, staying fixated on your wants and attached to the outcome you've embossed inside your mind? When we find ourselves in a place of consciousness like this, we create static noise where there should be harmony. Our expectations for our desires for others, for ourselves, and how we feel life ought to be creates a heaviness that lends itself to more difficulties as we question the why and how of things, instead of appreciating what is and allowing divine timing to show up as it intends. This card is here to remind you to be weightless, to let go of expectation by finding beauty in acceptance, and remaining unburdened by opinion, projection, or the notions we cling to. Alright, so skipping ahead to the mantra, weightless. I float through life with effortless ease. Like a dandelion, I move gently with the breeze. My heart is feather light, and my spirit is full of stars. I effervesce with loving awareness, appreciating everything as its own work of art. Wow. Beautiful. So, since this is in what is his deck strength, I suppose it's just about letting go of anything weighing me down, whether it's like past memories or thoughts or beliefs, probably more memories, because I feel like a lot of this has to do with how I'm viewing the past and letting past memories feel more weightless or like having less power over me so that I can, you know, access this liberation card here. And then in number 4, what is this deck's weakness, which we've got deja vu. Okay. Once upon a time I dreamt I was a butterfly, conscious only of my happiness as a butterfly, unaware that I was myself. Soon I awaked and there I was, veritably myself again. Now I do not know whether I was then a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or whether I am now a butterfly, dreaming I am a man. Zhuang Zi. Have you ever found yourself caught in a moment that feels both incredibly foreign and familiar, like a scene from a dream trickling into reality, or a drop of rain from the clouds of the collective consciousness, meeting your skin and awakening sensation? Where did this moment come from? Has this happened before? Deja vu translates to already seen, and if this card is being called into your reality, it may be a time to pause and reflect on moments that have recently happened where you may have felt as though you've sliced into the breath of time. When deja vu presents itself in your experience, take note of what and when it is happening. Mantra is, I trust the invisible whispers which offer guidance on my path. I choose to merge with the timeline that is meant to serve my highest good. So, this card is in the position of what is this deck's weakness? And I'm feeling a sense of like past lives and different patterns like coming up again and again. And I am getting this feeling of like reviewing the past and reviewing it in a different way. And part of that means kind of like rewiring the way that you're looking at the past in order to look at it as if it's like a work of art, you know, like this Kintsugi card, which can be difficult if you're looking at, you know, some memories in a more negative light. So I think it can be easy to fall into patterns is what it's saying, or like relive the same kind of moment again and again and again. And then I've got compassion for in what realm will we best communicate. Compassion is an action word with no boundaries. Prince, Vegetarian Times. The etymology of the word compassion stems back to the Latin word compati, which translates to suffer with. Merriam-Webster gives the modern definition of the word as sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with a desire to alleviate it. The Gautama Buddha identified suffering as one of the Four Noble Truths of his teachings. In viewing compassion as a spiritual practice, it is our conscious empathy for others' suffering. Because of our awareness of our own degrees of suffering, that brings us closer to our shared humanity. None of us are impervious to experiencing pain as we grow through life. It is an inevitable and inherent part of the human condition and experience. With the healing that can come with acceptance and understanding, a fluency of greater feeling can be found. The metta prayer of loving kindness, metta is a Pali word meaning goodwill, is a helpful meditative practice that can inspire a greater sense of compassion for all sentient beings traveling through time and space. And here, the prayer is here if you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and read the mantra. I am happy, I am healthy, I am at peace, and I am free. You are happy, you are healthy, you are at peace, and you are free. We are now liberated from our suffering. Once blind, now we can truly see. Yes, I am feeling a sense of compassion and forgiveness for the past that is happening in this spread. And I suppose what that's saying is that this deck is best used for, you know, trying to reconcile with the past and moving with more compassion and more forgiveness and ways of approaching the past so that you can reach levels of freedom and liberation. So for number 6, I've got 1. Okay, actually, it's this way. You learn by reading, but understand by love. Shams Tabrizi. Ubuntu is an Nguni Bantu term that recognizes the interconnectedness of humanity. I am because we are, or humanity toward others, begs us to remember that the nature of our humanness is inextricably linked. Oftentimes, when we search for answers, we forget how much we already know. Simply by looking within, we can be reminded of the interconnectivity that we all have with one another. Once we connect to this consciousness and drop into absolute harmony, the answers will rise. The connection that we have with nature, humanity, and everything within consciousness is one. Remember your power and deep connection to everything and everyone, and allow that awareness to shine. The mantra is, we are one, and I am, because we are. As I connect with my inner light, I remind others to remember who they are. I suppose a lot of this, I'm feeling is, I think sometimes we can get so deep into our past memories and, meaning that we might feel really alone in our experiences because we might feel like, oh, why is this happening to me? And feel like we're alone in feeling, those darker type of experiences. And this card to me is just telling me, it's kind of like this reminder that we're all one and that we have these shared human experiences that I think that like a lot of like movies or like shows that really resonate with you are coming up where like we can really connect to a character in a movie because they're going through something like a challenge and their own hero's journey. And there are parts of that story that, we can relate to. So we know that, these different stories we can have compassion for, but also we probably recognize ourselves in aspects of those stories. So I feel like that's what is reminding me of that with this card is I feel like, when we're in it, we're really in it and we're unable to zoom out. And then once you've had some time, once you've been able to heal and you're able to zoom out a little bit, you're able to see that you're not alone in this experience. So that's what that reminds me of. And then number 7, we have breathe. Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor. Thich Nhat Hanh, Stepping into Freedom, Rules of Monastic Practice for Novices. Each moment of the day, you have a metaphorical sword at your hip called conscious breathing. It's a powerful tool that can help slay limiting beliefs, critical thoughts, and many of your toughest inner demons. Any thought created by the mind can be exhaled and released through the breath. Any intention you wish to bring into your reality can be inhaled and integrated through this powerful practice. To transition from one state to another, all we have to do is shift our pattern of inhaling and exhaling with intent. This is true alchemy, learning how to use our internal systems to direct our emotions toward what feels good and most aligned with our greatest visions. The quality of your decisions is enhanced when you act from a place of fully integrated wholeness. With breath, we have the potential to feel our best even in the darkest of times. And then we have, I love this. Inhale the adventure and exhale your freedom, which circles back to this liberation card. And I feel like inhale the adventure and exhale your freedom can mean, sometimes breathing is vastly underrated. For anyone that has tried breathwork and have experienced, the powerful ways energy can move when you're using something like breathwork, which is accessible to all of us because we can all breathe. So, yeah, I kind of feel like it's like a reminder that freedom is within your grasp, when you're able to breathe through it or remember to connect to your breath. So the mantra reads, I'm an alchemist of my reality and the hero of my journey. Every inhale brings golden awareness to my life, and every exhale releases that which no longer serves my highest purpose. I trust how life is breathing my spirit and where the flow is taking me. Wow, I feel like that was a really beautiful message about what I'm getting from this deck interview, and the energy of this deck is that it can really help, reconcile with past experiences and emotions. Finding presence by breathing, and kind of reminds me of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That book was ground changing for me because I feel like I was always either thinking about the past or the future, and I wasn't necessarily present. And I feel like, by practices whether it's journaling or connecting to a deck or breathing or tapping or, whatever modality you like to do, it's really about connecting to the present moment, where you can actually create change, because the past is what it is and the future is dependent on what you do in the present. So yeah, I think that's really powerful. Okay, so now I like to end this deck unboxing video with a collective card for the collective. So let's see what that is for the collective. Okay. What card is best for the collective in this moment? Feeling this one. I've got reflection. Okay. What does that mean? Going the wrong way.
I'm like reciting the alphabet in my head. Okay. Okay, reflection. For those who have an intense urge for spirit and wisdom, it sits near them waiting. Patanjali, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Everything you see, everything, is a reflection of your inner world, thoughts, and intentions. What if the ancient sages were right, and you could change your outer world simply by changing your inner world through self-reflection and clear intention? What are your beliefs about money? Does it come easily and effortlessly, or is it never enough and always lacking? What do you feel about the world? Is it a safe and peaceful place filled with loving people, or is it a scary, dangerous place filled with greedy people who are only interested in themselves? How do you feel about others in general? Are you open to meeting new friends and exploring the potential for beautiful new relationships? Or are you cynical, critical, pessimistic, and constantly placing judgment on the minutiae? How do you feel, period? And how are these beliefs being reflected back to you? That is so powerful. Here are some questions you can ask yourself. Who am I really? What do I want? What am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? What am I grateful for in this life? What are my gifts that I would like to share with the world? So definitely take a note of all of those questions. I may journal about all of these questions later for myself because these are really great questions. Mantra. I reflect on clarity and am open to receive the answers I need. I am ready to accept the advice and embody the wisdom I receive. Wow. So everybody, take some time to reflect today. I think that is the message for the collective. Thanks for being here and watching this deck unboxing video of the Modern Nirvana Oracle. It's so beautiful. I'm very impressed. And until next time, bye!
Like this video? Check out other deck unboxing videos, tarot lessons, as well as timeless readings on the Mystic Mondays channel. Thanks for catching this video and see you next time.